at a convention, there's like this safety bubble. You're not alone.
A lot of us have similar personalities, similar like insecurities. We all feel connected in that way where we're not as likely to judge each other.
You'll see your best friend for 3 days once a year, but it'll be like the best 3 days of your life. I would say that it's brought me a lot of comfort as well as joy throughout the years.
We are just trying to live our lives and be happy people.
My name is Ivy, and my persona's name is Koi. I first discovered the furry community when I was in 7th grade, so I was about 12, 13 years old, and I discovered it through a mutual friend who I actually met at like church youth group. And I read a lot of Warrior Cats growing up, and I played Animal Jam. I did all the classic things, and I drew cats all the time, and he was like, "Oh, I like your cat drawings. Can I show you some of mine?" And I was like, "Sure." And he's like, "This is my fursona." And I was like, "What's a fursona?" And then it would like spiraled from there. I've always loved drawing. I've always had a passion for creating, and so it just felt like a natural pipeline to express myself through these like colorful drawings of animals. And eventually I got into the whole like physical media side of it, which led me to create like my fursuits and stuff. And I ended up building an entire business off of it, and I profit money. That's how I pay for my life right now, is through this business. And so it just felt very natural as a creative young child who loved drawing to step into a community where drawing and art and creating is celebrated. I was severely depressed when I got into the furry community, and it gave me a really good creative outlet, and it helped me connect to people that I don't really think I would have connected with, such as that friend from church group and their partner. It really helped me through some rough spots in my life with my depression and my anxiety.
Hi, my name is Scar Ramos. I was in 5th grade. I got my first phone when I was like 9. It was a little hand-me-down, and the first app that I downloaded was Musical.ly, and I discovered furries on there, and I was like, this is so cool. And then I made my fursona, and now I'm here where I am. So I've also been like a huge fan of animals and stuff like that. And so when I saw, I was like, oh my gosh, like there's this community where you can like make a character where you are an animal and you get to dress up as it and you get to like make all this cool stuff. I thought that was like the coolest thing ever. The fact that like I could imagine myself as this like really cool purple cat dragon thing, and I loved cats back then. It was a year of huge self-discovery.
My name is Chris Cummings, and my true sona is Chris the Timberwolf Thylacine hybrid. I went to St. Augustine when I was younger, and there were a bunch of people. It was for 4th of July, and I saw at least 2 fursuiters, and I was like, wow, I really want to do that. And I didn't know what it was because I didn't have internet access at the time. But once I got like a phone and whatever, I kind of Googled it, and I ended up finding what furry was, and I realized that I've always been one, I just didn't know what it was. I think it was just intriguing to me, the art that comes out of it, the creativity, and also the fursuits that you can make, all the opportunities, you know, commissions.
My name is Sarah, and my fursona name is Kaneko. Growing up, I played a lot of what people will call the furry pipeline kind of stuff. I played Animal Jam. Well, I still do. I read the like Warrior Cat series. I was just kind of into a lot of furry-esque things. And then one day I was about like 11 or 12, and I saw this video online by a really popular fursuiter named Pakari Roo. She made a lot of like informational furry videos at the time, so like different types of fursuits, the difference between a closed and an open species, and I binged those like I was studying for the exam of my life. Then one day I was like, that's kind of cool, I want to make one, and I want one of me. So I don't know how I pulled this off, but I begged my mom to get my first fursuit, and it was $300 for a head and paws, which in furry world is like going to the dollar store. When I was 12, that was probably the most eventful year of my entire life. My dad was battling brain cancer and he passed away that year or around then, and I was dealing with sexual assault as a kid. Like 2018 was kind of like the turning point for my life, because that's kind of when I became a furry, like when I lost my dad and when I was kind of freed of sexual assault. And kind of just becoming a furry and just diving into a new hobby was definitely something that I could take a break from like the reality of what was going on.
My first fursona was a gray and blue tiger. She didn't have a name, and I copied her off of someone else's artwork on the internet because I was 12 years old and I didn't know any better. But Koi was actually one of my earlier fursonas, and she's probably had about 6 different designs, all with the same color palette. She is the one that I like when I go out and I fursuit. I want to be bubbly, I want to be outgoing, I want to make friends, I want to make connections, and some aspects of my Trusona are more like me. They're a little bit more reserved, they're a little bit more like type A, like overthinking, a little bit anxious. And so when I put her on and I'm dressed up, I am able to embody her more outgoing spirit.
My first fursona was Onyx. She was a purple cat dragon, and she was also my first fursuit. And throughout making the fursuit was how her design kind of came to be. The fursuit came before the design, really. With fursonas, for me, the way that I make them, it represents like kind of a certain part of me almost. So your Trusona is truly like, that is me. It's not the projection of any specific thing. That is me as a whole, as a character. It's like, you'd be like, oh, what animal would I be if I were an animal? And like, that's the animal that you pick. The designs basically look like how you look right now or how you wish to look, things like that. A lot of his designs are very much based off me, my characteristics, all stuff like that. And then my other fursonas are more based around like a concept or like a certain part of me. It's more fragmented. And then just like a furry OC is just like a character that you make that's a furry. It doesn't really have anything to do with you as a person. It's just, you know, this whole design that you made.
At first I was kind of like, she's just a white wolf with pink ears and blue hair. Like this, she just kind of mid. But like, as like the years went on, she was going from more cutesy to like more sassy and just kind of like cutesy and sassy. And I kind of, with my fursona, like my main fursona, I kind of carry that on where they're like cutesy, but they're a little sassy, kind of like me.
I want to say my first fursona was Wolfie, and they were a gray wolf with blue eyes. I started my Trusona back in mid-2023, but I had other fursonas before that were supposed to be like me, but they weren't labeled a Trusona yet because I didn't know what the term was. But once I created this one, it originally was a completely different species. It was still a canine, but it was like some sort of like chow mix with a Doberman or something. And then that was in 2023, but I realized I kind of changed aesthetics. So over time, she has grown into kind of a different species, different color palette, based on what I was interested at the time. I only recently made the change that I made her a thylacine because I really connect to that animal a lot. And it also had similar like features to me. I made sure to include a lot of imperfections that I have, including my hair, like maybe my hair color, certain markings on my body to make it feel more like myself.
That we like to fuck animals. A lot of people think being a furry means that you like animals and that you're sexually attracted to animals, when that's not true at all.
Definitely, like, the pedophilia and the zoophilia is really big. Like, people think just because you like cartoon animals that you want to do stuff with actual animals, which is a huge misconception, and people who are into those things are not welcome in the furry fandom.
The furry fandom has a lot of flack. The number one thing is that people think that we are sexually interested in animals. No. Furries are actually like really, really sensitive about that stuff. If anybody finds out about anybody like doing any type, like even if it's just drawn art with like the animal genitalia instead of human genitalia, people will like write bewares and like cancel them and give them like the big hammer and everything. Like, we take that stuff very, very seriously. While there are sexual parts of the fandom, there will always be those kink environments. That is what is created around. That is, you know, there are adults that exist, but that doesn't equal zoophilia and stuff like that. Another big one is people think that we think that we're animals. That is not that case. It's cosplay. It's just like when you dress up as your favorite anime character.
Usually I just try to ignore it. People are worse on the internet. I'll get death threats from time to time. I've never gotten doxxed, thankfully, but people will call me like a pedophile. They will call me a rapist, and it's just because I wear a costume and post silly videos on the internet that they think that they can come and call me these things in my comment sections or in my DMs.
I think they assume that it's all like a sexual thing, but it's kind of branched out into being multiple different communities where there is maybe a more BDSM kink like side to it, maybe after dark, and then the rest is like kind of the safe for work side where people are just doing it for fun, safe for work activities in the daytime at conventions. And then conventions will also have the after dark hours where like no children are out. It's all adult people just going out doing raves and whatever. I realize that people are gonna think what they think and I can't change that, so I just ignore it.
I have gone to a few conventions. Sometimes I go in full suit, she's got a full body costume, and sometimes I just go in partial. But like everyone that I met at all these conventions were just so nice, and just to see like a little kid be like, look mommy, look at the big white cat, that's so cool, can I get a picture? Like, even that's heartwarming, the same way that seeing someone and being like, yo dude, your costume is so sick, and you're like, thanks, I worked really hard on it. Like, they're just all super fun and super heartwarming events no matter what the audience is.
I feel like people are a lot more approachable. Within the furry fandom, it's like you could walk up to somebody and be like, hey, can I have your Instagram? I want to be your friend. I think you look really cool. And someone will just like, it'll immediately be like, usually you can hit it off pretty easy in those spaces where it's like, whether it's one of the club meets or you're at a furry convention, it's way more approachable with people. But when you're out in public in a normal setting, it's way scarier. A big part of it is also your face is covered. So you don't have to worry about facial expressions. You don't have to worry about your physical appearance. All you are is like, oh, I look like a little animal right now. Now, last year is my first year getting to go to furry conventions. My first one was Furry Week in Atlanta. It's in Atlanta. And that was an amazing experience going to my first furry convention. It's a huge convention. I definitely call it line con. Most of the convention was waiting in lines. It is huge. And then after that, I went to my second furry convention ever, which was Megaplex. I had never seen so many furries in one place. I had never seen something like that. It was so cool, and the dealer's den was a huge part of it. The dealer's den is like the marketplace essentially of like the conventions. They have like the vendors hall. So that's what the dealer's den is for furry conventions. And it was so crazy walking through the dealer's den. It's all just furry art, creations made by furries. People are selling fursuits. I've never seen it so accessible to buy, you know, fursuit props, accessories. Like I got to buy a really cool collar for my fursuit, and I bought like my duffel bag that I use for my fursuit to like carry my fursuits now, and it has like a really cool design that clearly is like hinting towards like furries and creation, stuff like that. And I spent like $300 at the dealer's den during that con. That was like one of the biggest things.
A lot of conventions, they may have their cliques and different groups of people, but you will still eventually find someone who has similar interests to you and eventually become friends. I think because a lot of us have like similar personalities and similar like insecurities, we all feel connected in that way where we're not as likely to judge each other based on what we look like, even without the fursuit head, because we are also going through it ourselves, and that's just not what we do. And it's more of like an outsider thing to judge into the community rather than inside the community itself. I feel like I'm able to be more in character because there's no worry about judgment on how you act or how you behave. You're just able to kind of be yourself without worrying about what people think of you based on looks and whatever. You just kind of have a different persona on, or maybe one that's similar to you but a little more extroverted, it makes it easier for me to become a character and socialize. And I find myself able to do more when I'm wearing the head versus when I'm not wearing the head, because a lot of times there are judgmental people out there who will base you off of your looks. So if you're wearing like a fursuit head, you're not as worried about that happening.
At a convention, there's like this safety bubble where first you feel like you're not alone. From a safety standpoint, if you pass out or something happens, someone will be there. It's definitely more of like common ground community. Like I can pretty much go up to any person and talk to them. That's probably one, because I feel more confident in a space that's more accepting, and two, just because the furry community is very accepting. Growing up, I heard that the furry the furry handshake is a hug, and that's very true. Love a hug, and it's not uncommon for people at furry conventions to like meet you for the first time, give you a hug, talk to you for a couple hours, and then like, you have a new friend.
I do make all my own suits, and so she was maybe my 5th or 6th suit that I made on my own, and the other ones were just pre-mades that I made when I was around 16, and I just sold them on Etsy. I have 2 right now. I have her, and she is made by me, and I have another suit that I bought off of someone who, I did not make this suit, but I bought it kind of like third hand. So there's a lot of different ways that you can make a suit. I have refined my business techniques like crazy over the last like 3 years. And so I started by making on these things called dino masks, which are basically plastic Jurassic Park masks from Walmart. And my first 2 pre-mades were made on those, and they were not the highest quality. I did not know how to use a sewing machine, just very 16-year-old grade work. And then I decided to move to foam carved bases, which she's made out of foam carve, and that's like upholstery squishy foam. I hand carve everything and you fur it. And I recently upgraded this year to where I now 3D print all my head bases. And so I go into Nomad Sculpt and I carve them and shape them in a Nomad Sculpt build, and then I export them to my printer and I slice them and I get the right infill and I print them with something called TPU. So they're actually squishy to the touch, just like foam, but you get a perfectly symmetrical shape to your head. My family, they were just I had always drawn cats, and they were just oh, she's just drawing cats with colors now. And so they didn't really notice in middle school, but then when I started to get into fursuit making and I was I think I want to do this, and I'm I want to do it to try to sell it, and they're okay, and then I made a few and I sold them, and they're oh, that's pretty cool that you're selling these things. So they've been super supportive, and it was really sweet because this year when I came to UNF and I decided to step away from my part-time job I was working because the environment was just not it, I decided, you know what, I'm going to make all my money to fund my college career from fursuit making. I'm actually in a place, and I just raised my prices, I can do this. There's a demand for my work, I can fund this. And so I was looking at 3D printers and maybe saving for one eventually, and my dad, he sat down with me and he was I want to buy it for you. And I was what? That's $500. And he was I want to buy it for you. Oh my God, I'm getting emotional. And he is a businessman. He runs his own flooring business. And he was my parents bought me my first set of tools, and I never forgot that moment. And so I want to do this for you and buy you your first printer so you can make money off of this, because I believe in you. And so, he bought that for me, and I just was so grateful. He never asked for anything in return. He was just I just want to do this for you because I really believe in you. And so he'll sit down and I'll show him what I'm sculpting on Nomad, and I'll be look at, I'm making this, and he's oh my gosh, that's so cool. Tell me about your printer settings. Tell me about what you're making. Show me the character you're making for this suit. And he'll sit down and talk to me because that personally is super awesome for me. Oh yeah, 100%, because the bulk of the fursuit making process is the foam carving for me. I spend hours just sitting there, probably upwards of 80 hours just working on a head base and fitting the eyes in right and getting everything to work. And so to be able to just sculpt something and then build everything off of it, while it's printing, it takes maybe 3 days to print. I get to work on other stuff. So like while the head base was printing, I made the whole tail for the suit. And like then by the time it was done, I was able to immediately start working. So like those 80 hours that I would have spent carving out a head base immediately went to working on the tail for the suit. And so it definitely has sped up my process like a lot.
It helps me express, like, my creativity is a huge part. As I've said before, the creative part of the fandom is what I've always been here for. It's always what I started to be here for, and it's what I stay here for. It helps me really, it's one of my favorite art forms. You know, I've always been an artist, as I said. I went to arts middle school and high school. I've been in the arts for a really long time, but this has always been the one where I felt like I could really show myself off, especially since it's a wearable piece of art. It's really awesome that I get to like say that I made this thing and wear it out and stuff like that. It helps express, like, you know, the more theatrical side of it as well, because a lot of times when I wear my fursuit and I'm going out, I'm almost kind of playing a character. I get to act like this cute little animal, and it's a lot of things, but the arts part of it is the #1 thing that's always, you know, been my biggest outlet within this fandom.
So most professional makers, they can get anywhere up to like the 10,000s range depending on what you're ordering. So if you're getting like an entire full suit where it's like the body, the feet, and the hands and the head and tail, it can be upwards to like, I think the most expensive suit that was ever sold was $22,000, and it was just a partial. But it was made by Multicolor Bark, which is a huge company that's been around since the early 2010s, and they've grown a huge following. That's why they can price it so high, because they're basically in demand, high demand for commissions, and they are backlogged a few years. As for homemade suits, like if I'm making the suit, it only costs like materials, because I'm not charging myself for labor, but it's mostly just like up to $200, $300 of materials, like mostly taken up by fur, because fur is pretty pricey to have the good quality stuff. But there are cheaper alternatives if you're on a budget. And foam as well, you can actually buy in person. It's easier to make a suit yourself because it's a lot cheaper.
Like, we are very innovative. The way that fursuits are made have changed drastically since I started making them. Constantly new things are being created, which is insane how fast this has all moved. Like, when I first started making fursuits, it was normal for half of it to be glued together and only part of it is sewn and the inside foam is exposed and whatever. Now it's like that is a complete low quality fursuit, it's trash, you know, stuff like that. Now it's like the inside of the head has to be lined, everything has to be completely sewn, no seams showing, blah blah blah. But also things are like a lot more accessible with that type of creation and to be able to get it to that point.
I don't see myself ever really stopping being a furry. I see it ebbing and flowing with my life, just as I see my career ebbing and flowing, or my life ebbing and flowing, where I live. You know, I might change locations and it might like slow down a little and then come back, and I might come back to it. But I always see myself as a very creative person. And so to always have the option to step into a space where my creativity is always celebrated, and it's a creativity that I never really get to express anywhere else. I never get to, you know, draw in my daily life. I never get to, that's not related to my career at all. It's not related to my profession. It's not related to my degree. And so like to be able to just do something that makes me genuinely happy is just, it's so nice to have that option for like the rest of my life.
So I try to also bring some of the furry stuff into my daily life, because it used to be where I was like, okay, I'm a furry this weekend and then I'll see you next year. But now I'm the furry vice president, or the furry club vice president. I make fursuits now for a living, or for money. I draw furry art sometimes in class when I can, or just for money in general. I have a bunch of furry stuff strung about my room, so I have been trying to like bring some of that joy and whimsy into my life. Like before, it felt like I was like a superhero, where I had my secret identity and my real identity, and now I kind of have where I don't have to play two roles anymore. Like I can just freely, hey, I'm a fursuit maker, did you know that? Like, I don't have to hide, I guess.
Don't listen to what people on the internet tell you. People on the internet are gonna tell you that if you join this community, you're cringe, you're weird, you are a horrible person. And truth be told, yeah, we're kind of cringe and we're kind of weird, and you know what, we're free because of it. And to be able to walk into any space and just be who you are, whatever that may be, whatever that might look like, whatever you may sound like or feel like, to just be you authentically, that's awesome. And so if you're having doubts about it, just try it. Maybe you won't like it. Maybe you'll say, you know what, this is not for me, and that's okay too. But you'll never know if it's the best thing in the world unless you just give it a chance. Go to a furry convention, join a Discord server, join an Instagram group chat, make an art account, make a fursuiting account, make a fursuit, make art, make a drawing, make pins, make badges, make anything, and just like enjoy it. Because that's what it is. It's just people enjoying themselves and enjoying just their lives.